Hello, I am Dan.
And I'm Can.
And this is a Candid Conversation. On the air. Across all Broadways and whatevers and
Broadwaves.
Yeah. Okay, so it's been a day. My mind's not thinking clear. I'm not thinking smarter right now.
So think harder.
Okay, this guy. Anywho, Candy.
What?
How you doing?
Good.
Good. Glad to hear it. We made it through another week. So we're here again. Candy has a video. Do you want to get right into the video?
Yeah.
You want to set it up while well, first off, we learned some new stuff to do. So get ready, folks, because the Dan and Can experience is going completely off the rails.
Okay.
Doing new shit all over the place. So
he's excited. His world has opened up. It actually helps because I want to do more like commentary on things. So
more like what we're going to do for this Candy Conversation.
Yeah. So I'll set it up. This is a video with Stephen Colbert, who is, if you don't know who he is, he's the host of the late night show, I think.
The Late Show with Stephen
Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And he's actually been like let go because I think it ends in May.
Yeah, something like that.
So he's been just like having whoever he wants on because there's a political motive behind it, but I don't want to go into that. So there's this rule, FCC rule, I think, that if you have the
equity rule.
Yeah, if you have someone that's running for office, you have to have on the show, then you have to, and it's only for cable and like primetime kind of shows or whatever.
Radio.
Or it's not for cable.
Yeah, it's radio and
network, like TV network.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have someone who's running for office on, you have to have their opponent on too.
All the opponents on.
All the opponents, yeah. And
you have to offer them a chance to come on.
And
time. So if you had Trump on for 10 minutes, anyone else running for president would have to have 10 minutes, a chance to come on for 10 minutes also.
I don't know if you need to know this, but something's not moving up there.
That's the video.
Oh, okay. So anyways, yes. So you have to have them all on. And I guess maybe Stephen Colbert didn't want to do all of them. I don't know. Anyways, he has Republican James Talarico. I'm not sure how to say his last name, but he's running for Senate in Texas, right?
So yeah, he's a state senator.
And he's a person who claims to be a Christian. He's Democrat. He's a Democrat, though. He doesn't like Christian nationalism. He's pushing back against it. He says it's not Christian, blah, blah, blah. But they couldn't even put it on the air. They had to put it on YouTube. So it's just been on YouTube. And he says some important things in there that I wanted to like talk about on the podcast because it's about Christianity. So I think go to I think I said 125, a minute 25 in. Roughly, maybe a minute 29, go to 25. Yeah. And just start it there. Wait, we need our headphones.
Oh, we need our headphones. Yes.
We might pause it sometimes throughout here and just talk about it. And
put
then
on our headphones, which is going to cause us to shrink. Ooh, we're small. All right, are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, play.
Yes.
And against cancel culture. And now they're trying to control what we watch, what we say, what we read. And this is the most dangerous kind of cancel culture, the kind that comes from the top. They went after The View because I went on there. They went after Jimmy Kimmel for telling a joke they didn't like. They went after you for telling the truth about Paramount's bribe to Donald Trump. Corporate...
This is a little bit before,
corporate media executives are selling out the First Amendment to curry favor with corrupt politicians. And a threat to any of our First Amendment rights is a threat to all of our First Amendment rights. So I'm really thankful.
To fact check you, my network said our cancellation was a purely financial decision.
Got it.
And I remain very grateful for the last 11 years. Now, You grew up in Texas.
I
Here
did.
you are.
I did.
Wait,
There
I
you
don't think we're
are.
at the right
You can
spot
prove it.
at all.
Okay.
Scoot forward more to go to 329. Right there about.
Like it's some kind of secret. And we've recruited 14,000 volunteers who are out there doing the
Did I
work all
send you
over our
to
state.
229?
We
Or 129?
we have this is one of the most exciting parts. We have shattered grassroots fundraising records all without taking a dime from corporate PACs.
It's like
and so
129 or
this
something. I think you went to 229, and maybe I said 129. Maybe I said 229. Try. Okay, there we go. I don't know why I said that. So go to 415.
415.
Yeah, way off. Roughly right around there. And then we should be able to cruise through.
And one of the things that's gotten you
There,
attention
leave it
out
here.
there is that you are a Presbyterian seminarian. Presently?
Yes.
You're a seminarian?
Yes.
Okay. The right attempts to co-opt Christianity, to say that, you can't believe in God, you can't believe in Christ. I think that Donald Trump might have said something like that at the National Prayer Breakfast, like you can't actually be a Christian, be a Democrat. But the religious right is largely a political movement that references spirituality, but it's a political. What is your heartfelt hand out to the people who want to use religion as a tool of political power?
Well, for 50 years, the religious right, a political movement, that is the perfect description for it, they convinced a lot of our fellow Christians that the most important issues were abortion and gay marriage. Two issues that aren't mentioned in the Bible, two issues that Jesus never talked about. Jesus in Matthew 25 tells us exactly how you and I and every one of our fellow believers, how we're going to be judged and how we're going to be saved. By feeding the hungry, by healing the sick, by welcoming the stranger. Nothing about going to church, nothing about voting Republican. It was all about how you...
Okay, so the point I want to make there, I don't know how much we can watch without getting do you get...
Yeah, we'll figure it out when we get
Okay. But, okay, some people will say, oh, yeah, they didn't, because abortion wasn't a thing or whatever. Yes, it was. There was babies, you could take your baby and just put it in this space and let it starve to death. So it was even worse than abortion. It was actually murder.
Yeah, it was.
It was like neglect to death.
Yeah.
That was okay. So, and there is a Bible verse that talks about if a man thought his woman or his wife had an affair, or the woman he was wanting to marry had been with somebody and he thought she was with child, you could make them drink something which would cause an abortion. And if that happened, it would let him know something, whatever. So that was entirely a thing. Jesus knew about it. He had to have. It was a common practice in Rome when people didn't want babies, right? So he doesn't talk about it at all. He doesn't mention it. So it's not up there. And then there weren't relationships like we have today where same-sex marriages and stuff. Yeah, that didn't exist really because they would have relationships with people. If someone was gay, it would be hidden, obviously, but they were also using marriage as keeping families going because there are ideas of how, what was important. And so it was it wasn't for love that they were getting married a lot of time. It was for how can this help the family, or, what kind of connections it's going to give us, like you see the wealthy do sometimes. And obviously people who aren't so wealthy probably do it too. But anyways, I just wanted to say it was a thing, but he didn't talk about it because it wasn't that's not his message. Is not that.
Topics, because homosexuality was prevalent in
there was
the Roman
people
Empire.
that were gay for sure alive, and they weren't getting married because marriage was like a transaction. It wasn't like love.
It was business.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't what it is today. They didn't get married for love a lot of times. It was arranged marriages and that stuff. So, but yet there were So anyways, there is mention in the Bible of pedophilia, being against pedophilia, though. That's for sure. That's where there's that power dynamic. But anyways, I just wanted to point that out. Like, it's not because it wasn't happening. It was happening, and even more harsher things. But Jesus doesn't talk about it because it wasn't his message.
Yeah.
Okay.
Continue?
Yeah.
All right.
You treat other people. Don't. I've said before, don't tell me what you believe. Show me how you treat other people, and I'll tell you what you believe. And I think in our...
You can pause it there.
So that's an interesting thing there too. Is I think we see that with modern Christianity a lot today, where they're telling you,
This is what we believe.
this is what we believe, and then you see their actions in the world.
Well, yeah.
You know, are the modern Christians and the nationalist Christians the ones that are calling on their neighbors because they have brown skin and calling ICE to come out and
And
take
yet
care of
claiming they care about
them?
the foreigner, or they claim they claim to care about children so much, right? Anti-abortion, because we're for the children. And yet the Epstein files come out and they're like, let's move past this already. And it's like, that is a whole ring of people that was
that even
causing
goes
damage
back
to children.
You're not pro-life, you're pro-birth.
Yeah.
Because you don't care about what happens to the child after birth.
Yeah, you don't want to provide the welfare
don't
programs
wanna-
for the people that
you
have
don't
to
wanna
bring
provide
children in that
welfare,
they
you don't wanna
didn't.
have adoption. You don't want to adopt any of these babies yourself. You want to force these people to have them and do whatever with them, and possibly let these kids be orphans because their parents
Or
can't raise
neglected,
them.
or being
Or
raised by people who are struggling with addictions and all sorts of hell that you're going to put these children through, causing damage.
Yeah.
And then then the society has to provide something for these people.
You don't want to give them a chance to have a chance at successful life.
No.
So-
Well, and I want to say that when I was a Christian, I ran by what people said.
Yeah.
Instead of by what they actually did.
Yeah.
So if they said they were a Christian, well, then I would just assume they're good with God, so they must be a good person.
Yeah.
And then if they did something bad, it was just like, oh, that was just a mistake. Like, God will forgive them, blah, blah, blah.
They gave into the flesh.
Yeah. But if they did the same thing and they weren't a Christian, it's because of their evil nature. They don't, I just remember you're much more gullible.
Mhm.
And I do remember my sister, who was never got as zealous as me. And she has always said, I don't go by people's words. I go by their actions, what they do. And I remember when she first said that to me, it hit me a certain way. And I'm like, well, that makes more sense. That is how you should do it. But it just never occurred to me.
Because you got people that are in charge now to tell you how great they are. They're the best at everything. They know everything. And they're
People
doing
should
the
believe
best
it. Yeah.
And people just believe it. And then you watch and see what they do, and they haven't fulfilled any of their promises.
No.
or anything that they claim.
Even
they
though
were
they'll
gonna
say
do.
they has, and it's not just Christianity. If you say you're Republican, which those two, like he says, are kind of tied together, but it's and if someone says they're a Democrat, automatically they're not a Christian in your head if you're evangelical or fundamentalist or whatever. So, okay, go on.
All right, back to this.
In our faith, we've got to get back to those fundamentals. My granddad was a Baptist preacher in South Texas. And when I was little, he told me that Christianity is a simple religion. Not an easy religion, he would always clarify, but a simple religion because Jesus gave us 2 commandments: love God and love neighbor. And there was no exception to that second commandment. Love thy neighbor regardless of race or gender or sexual orientation or immigration status or religious affiliation. And it's why I have fought so hard for the separation of church and state in the state capitol in Texas, because...
Well, I want to ask you about that.
Yeah, please.
Because you did, as a state rep, you fought against a bill requiring the 10 Commandments to be displayed in schools.
That's right.
Why, even on that level, do you think it's important to keep the separation, not just for the state, but for the church?
Well, because we are called to love all of our neighbors, including our Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, Hindu, Sikh, agnostic, atheist neighbors. And forcing our religion down their throats is not love. And it's why I have fought.
He's getting close. Well, okay. In that part right there where he said, that's not love. There is a Bible verse that says love doesn't insist on its own way.
Yes.
Which is exactly what they're doing. They're insisting that their way or their God's way is the right way.
They're not, if you look at was it Corinthians that has the love is?
Yeah.
They don't follow any of the love is.
No. And you're supposed to be known by your love.
Yeah.
Christians are not known. I'm not going to say all Christians, like this guy who's claiming to be a Christian. I would say that he has acted in a way that seems very loving. He cares about those who are not like him. He doesn't want to enforce, he doesn't want to shove his religion down anybody's throat. He doesn't want to force it on anybody. But the type of Christianity that I grew up in was definitely, we're right, everybody else is wrong. You know, like I would have looked at you as a Catholic, you're not really a Christian, you know. And having Christians run the country was the best thing in the world. That would be, you know, because we're the good guys, you know, and obviously this is where it creates a lot of problems. But I don't know if you want to see that you're really close to it. The end of it, not on the end of the whole clip, but there's where I would break it off. And I guess we don't have to watch it. I'll just explain it.
Oh, we can.
Okay, well, go ahead. And he's kind of explaining why not putting church and state together.
It's why I fought so hard for that sacred separation in our First Amendment, because my granddad, he raised me to believe that that boundary between church and state doesn't just benefit the state or our democracy, although it certainly does, but it also benefits the church. Because when the church gets too cozy with political power, it loses its prophetic voice, its ability to speak truth to power, its ability to imagine a completely different world. And so this separation between church and state is something we have to safeguard. It's something we have to fight for. And I think we need someone in the U.S. Senate who is going to confront Christian nationalism and say and tell the truth, which is that there is nothing Christian about Christian nationalism. It is the worship of power in the name of Christ. And it is a betrayal of Jesus of Nazareth. And I just want to thank you, Stephen, because I know you're not a politician, but you have really shown people in this country what Christianity should be and what it means to actually live out the teachings of Jesus, even in a talk show.
Well, I'm going to push back a little bit on that. That's very nice of you to say. I would never lay that compliment to myself, because I think I fall far short of what my standards would be. But I will agree with you on this. I think that it is bad for certainly my church or any religious organization to associate themselves from a political party. Right. How must it diminish God to be associated with something so small as a present political party?
That's right.
Because imagine this. Imagine that you managed to co-opt Christianity. Imagine if you managed to convince everybody that Jesus was on your side. If you then lose the election, sounds like you've got a pretty weak Jesus.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's the key, is you don't want to fit.
That is, I think, the biggest thing out. Like, it's such a small God.
Yeah.
And I remember as I was beginning to deconstruct, wondering, like, how can God be contained to one religion? How can God be contained to a political party? But I mean, basically he says it there too, like, what a small God, a weak Jesus you have if you lose, right? Yeah. Which you are going to lose at some point. And the fact that you have to legislate your God's rules shows how weak he is.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
He needs men to step in and do the stuff that he can't do.
Yeah. And I know they're going to sit there and claim, well, he's calling us to act in his name. Well, okay.
Where do you get that? Where is that written somewhere?
That can be challenged on so many different levels. And why are you the one to act in it? And you see that which religion is the one that's being actually called to. Because if they were to succeed and take over, then you'd have a great religious war in the country on which denomination.
Yes, exactly.
It's going to break down and break down and break down.
Well, I mean, it happened with the Catholic Church getting so big
Yeah.
then it fractured because it had so much power and it was doing
It was
abusive
running all of
things.
Europe.
Yeah. And so then it broke and then it splintered and splintered and splintered. And now you have thousands and thousands and thousands of denominations. Catholic Church might still be contained somewhat, but it's like, it's still the Protestant Church is part of the Catholic Church. It's just a broken part off, and it's just all fractured and they all call themselves Christians.
We're starting to see some of that fracturing because you had Mike Johnson talking about the Pope. And he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, the Pope is American, the first American Pope ever, not accidentally, I don't think.
No, probably
He
not.
knows what's going on in this country. He's seen it. He's lived through it. He's been here for
Well, and he's
it.
challenging whether the Pope knows the Bible like he knows the Bible. Because evangelicals, we thought we were fucking haughty. We thought we were smarter than everybody when it came to the Bible. We had the truth. And, it's disgusting the mindset that you get when you're in it. Yeah. But I just wanted to point out, like, first of all, or the one thing I wanted to point out is this was trying to be censored. They were trying not to get this out, right? Yeah. And now it has blown up because people are seeking it out. Yeah. I would have never sought it out to watch it had I not known it, like saw something that it was being blocked. And I was like, oh, I got to watch this. I got to see what's on there.
It's just the rule of nature. When you try to cover something up and hide it,
it's going to come out somewhere else and it'll be,
it's like when the Christians try to prohibit sex in purity culture. It just makes the kids think about
more
sex
curious.
More curious
they think about it more than they probably would. Yeah. Because it's this taboo thing. It's forbidden. And why is it forbidden? And it creates all this curiosity around it.
Movies that go out and people are like, oh, don't watch that movie. It's horrible. What are people going to do? I want to go watch that movie. No one wants me to see it, so I better see what they don't want me to see.
Or it's evil. Like, you're not supposed to watch it. Yeah. So it creates all this like lore around it. Like what's going on there? We need to know.
So when they start doing shit like that, they're just causing it to blow up and get exposed. Even more people are going to search it because what's so bad about this? I got to understand why it's so bad. And then they get the message across and whatever. They're dumb.
They may even have helped this guy win. Just by doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it was already, Texas is pulling away from that red color, which would be huge.
Yeah.
So anyways, I just thought it was an interesting thing because he's talking strictly, we talk about Christianity here, obviously, and the problems that we had in it. And he's exposing.
Well, and I think it illustrates 2 points because, we come off and a lot of people, when we put out stuff and Christians come in our comments, whatever, like, well, not all Christians.
Not my church.
In general, about this movement that's going on in our country. And that's what he's talking about. Obviously, James here is a good Christian. He's
a Christ. I would say he's a Christ follower.
He's a Christ follower.
I almost think the word Christian is ruined.
Yeah.
But Christ follower and Christian are not the same thing. You can say you're a Christian and you could be Christian nationalist. You could be a Christian like James Talarico, whatever. Or you can be a Christ follower and you really can't be a Christian nationalist. Christ followers, like when you read the words of Christ and who he was in context, not just his words blanket. Yeah, like when he says like pluck out your eye or whatever, read him in context. Who is he saying these things to? Who is he being so hard on? Like he was very harsh with religious leaders. That's who he's harsh with. He's not talking to your common everyday man that way.
Yeah.
So very different when you understand Jesus in context. And following Jesus, his message was push back against systems that are trying to tell you that you need them to tell you how to live, that they hold all the power, that God is outside of you and not inside you, all those things. So anyways.
So it's good. Yeah, it's a good illustration on, there are good Christians out there like this. And we're not talking about them. We're talking about the ones that are trying to control, manipulate, and force their ideology on everyone else and make everyone else conform to their will.
And think their version of Christianity is the only. You have to be like them and believe like them in order to be a true Christian. Those are the most haughty, arrogant. They're the farthest from Christ than these other Christians that are like, don't push it on people. You can believe whatever you want. He looks more like a Christ. He looks more like Christ than
Christ looks like Christ.
First of all, than Donald Trump looks.
But American
That's
Jesus
for sure.
looks like Christ.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah. All right, wrap it up, buddy.
There and there. So, all right. Well, that's all we got to you. We want to play with a little new technology, so hopefully it worked. Otherwise, this is going to be a real short video with not a whole lot of context behind it.
I'll be like, what in the hell are they talking about?
Sorry if that happened, but it looked like everything worked, so we're going to go with that. If you're watching on YouTube, please give us a like, follow, and subscribe. We'd appreciate that greatly. And yeah, leave us a comment if you got a moment, because we love hearing comments and we respond to all of our comments. And if you're listening on a podcast streamer, Apple, Spotify, whatever, give us 5 stars on that. We'd appreciate that greatly. That just takes 1 second. Go up top, hit that rate button, and you're done. If you got a few extra moments, leave us a comment there, because we'll respond to all of them also. And then if you want more information about what we're doing and other stuff that we're doing, just go down below. And we got the links down there. The main one's Dan and Can. Click on any of them. It'll take you to what you need and see and explore the world of Dan and Can. And be ready, folks, because in the future, we're going to be doing more stuff like this. Maybe even some separate videos if I convince Candy to record one more night a week. If we find a movie or a series that we can
maybe
go through.
we get to watch something
she'll
fun.
Enjoy watching it. I don't know if she'll enjoy recording it as much.
We'll see.
Out,
we'll see.
We'll have to watch it
Maybe if
second time.
my hands can be busy, like I can crochet.
Yeah. We'll have to watch it a second time in the clips, and that might not be good for her. So we'll see how that works. I'm pushing for it. But other than that, have a great week, folks. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Bye.
Bye.